You will have to rely on your own connections anyway, and university choice has little to no importance. 99% of them will not know a single thing about Chinese universities. Nobody cares. 大家好，欢迎来到我的小博客。Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In one of the recent videos, we talked about the pros and cons of studying in China for a degree. And since many of you remained unperturbed by the challenge and asked how to pick a good university in China, here we are. In this video, we're going to cover all the questions that you may have when picking your perfect university in China. We're gonna do it in the form of a good old algorithm, so watch to the end to find out what university fits you best. First of all, before picking a school, think several steps ahead and ask yourself an honest question. Why do you need to go to study to China for a degree? At this point, nobody's assessing your motivation for your application letter, so be honest with yourself. Why do you need a master's degree in China? Is it because you really want to work in the academia, do research, and work at a university? Why is this the first question? Because the answer to this question actually determines whether your choice matters, whether it matters which school you go to. Because if the answer is no, and we go down this arrow here, nobody cares which university you go to. If your future employer is not in academia, 99% of them outside of China will not know a single thing about which Chinese universities are good and which are dismal. Even the most famous universities like Peking University, also known as Beida, or Tsinghua University, which are so coveted by all Chinese school kids, and their parents likewise, even these names very seldom ring a bell to any employer outside of China. Let's say if you plan to go back to your home country after graduation and work as a translator with Chinese language, or as a Chinese language teacher, or to work as a logistics manager with Chinese companies, just face it that nobody cares what university you went to. They will care about your language skills first of all, not your university ranking. And even if you plan to stay in China, the scope of jobs for foreign graduates is so limited. It's either an English teacher or logistics manager, or maybe some translator, editor, or foreign communications officer, and that's pretty much it. And even those jobs will come through your network anyway, who once again don't care that much what university you went to. You will have to rely on your own connections anyway, and university choice has little to no importance. So we go down the road when your answer to the first question is no, you do not want to be in academia. We'll talk about the yes arrow in a couple of minutes. If outside of China nobody knows a thing about which school is good, so you need to pick a school that would be perfect for you personally rather than for your future potential employer. And here is your next question: whether you want to learn real, tangible skills that will help you in your future career. This is also a very important question, and you should also be very honest with yourself when you answer it, because not everybody goes to China to learn skills, and that's okay. We already talked in the previous video that one of the cons of studying in China for a degree for foreign students is that we are very unlikely to learn any real skills at our classes. Any real skills, any real knowledge other than Chinese language. So don't expect to learn much about this subject matter. If you indeed want to become a better professional and really go to China to learn skills, be prepared to do a lot of self-study and be very proactive in your class and in your research. So let's say your answer is yes, you do want to learn skills. Then next question is, do you plan to stay in China for work after you graduate? This is a very important consideration because most of the jobs will not come through cold emailing HR agents and sending out batches of resumes. Like I said, the amount of jobs for which foreign candidates are more preferable than Chinese graduates is very, very limited, and most likely they will come via your network. So when you study in China, there is a lot of time to build your network, to grow your connections, but clearly most of them will be in the same city as your university. So if you absolutely want to settle down in Beijing or Shanghai or Shenzhen, it is not a good idea to go study in Sichuan or Nanjing. Labor force moves a lot in China, but that's usually not the case with foreigners. So if you want to settle down in a certain city in China after graduation, go study in the same city. So first pick a city and then find the best school for your major in that city. If you don't want to stay in China after graduation, find the nationwide Chinese university rankings and pick the best school for your major. Like civil engineering is best at Tongji University in Shanghai, computer science is best at Tsinghua, mathematics is best at Fudan University, and food science is world's top at South China University of Technology in Guangzhou. So if you really want to learn skills but have no plans of staying in China after graduation, find the best school by your major. If you do plan to stay in China after graduation and you want to start looking for a job while you study, you might want to consider picking the city first and go for the best school by major in that city. Obviously, the best schools are located in Tier 1 cities, but if your ideal school is in the capital, is in Beijing, but you realize that you don't really want to live in a northern city long term after you graduate, maybe you would be better off if you pick a school in Shanghai. Okay, now if your answer to the question whether you want to learn skills was not really, which is understandable, many people choose China to chill out, to travel, to learn Chinese, enjoy a different culture, and they don't really care for professional development at this point. The next question is, does money matter? If money doesn't matter, if you have some other income, your parents are willing to pay for your entertainment in China, in that case, just pick any average ranking university in a top-tier city like Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen. You're gonna have so much fun in those cities, and at the same time you will not be plagued by higher requirements of a top university. If you want to chill out in China, don't care for skills, go to schools like Shanghai University, Donghua University. The application will be much less competitive, you have more chances of getting in, studies will be much easier, and you will have all the time in the world to enjoy that student life in China that everybody loves so much. If money does matter, then you should answer the question of whether you want to stay in China after graduation. If not, pick literally any school in a not so expensive city. Your best choices would be universities in provincial capitals like Xi'an, Nanjing, Harbin, Fuzhou, Xiamen, Wuhan, so on. These cities are not as expensive as Beijing or Shanghai, and you still get a fair share of fun in those cities. They are huge, interesting, they're easily accessible, and at the same time, the competition for part-time jobs for foreigners is not as crazy as in international cities. In many of those cities, you won't even have to look for a part-time job, it will come right to you. Now, if you want to stay in China after graduation, pick a city first, where you want to build your network for the future, and then go for any average ranking school there. Most likely you want less competition and more chances of getting in, but at the same time you don't want to start building your connections in a different city from scratch when you graduate. So these were the suggestions to pick a university if you do not want to join the academia. Now, if you fancy a life of an acclaimed professor with meaningful research, who is feared and admired by their multiple students, you may want to follow the arrow here. Yes, I want to join the academia. And then it's a different selection process because your colleagues will know which university is good. People from the university world will know that Chinese universities vary hugely in the quality of education that they provide, in the quality of research that they do, in the financial opportunities like international conferences and foreign staff and internships and exchange programs with foreign universities. So you probably need to base your choice not only on your personal preferences, but also on the reputation of the school, on the ranking it has internationally. If you aspire to continue your academic career in the US, Europe, or Australia, go exclusively for Peking University or Tsinghua University. These are honestly the only prestigious schools in mainland China and the only ones that have some international reputation. And people in the scientific world know that they're good. Less prestigious, but also having decent international rankings are Fudan University in Shanghai, Shanghai Jiao Tong University, also maybe Zhejiang University in Nanjing. So if school name matters, these are essentially your only options. If you think that you might not get into those schools, or if the school name doesn't matter that much, or as a plan B option, you can go down this arrow ask yourself whether you plan to stay in China after graduation and pick the best school in the city where you want to live afterwards. Alternatively, if you want to leave China after graduation, go for a top university in a well-developed province like Zhejiang or Jiangsu. Top schools there have very good funding, so you'll have good dorms, good sports facilities, good libraries, computers and everything. You'll have international speakers, and there are also lots of foreign students in those schools, so it's a very good option if you're not sure that you're gonna get into a more prestigious school. And there is one more important thing, is that if you want to join the academia, you want to diversify your choices. So apply to several schools, like 3 or 4 or 5, depending on how many application fees you can pay. It's usually 800 RMB per one application. So pick the best ideal university, which is going to be like a Beida or Tsinghua. Then go for a medium kind of school, and then also go for several more accessible schools that will be your safety net if you don't get into the university of your first choice. Okay, that was it. I hope it was useful. Comment below how you are picking your perfect university, what reasons you are considering when you are choosing a school, and I'll see you next time. 谢谢大家耐心观看，下次再见，拜拜。